Hey guys, Enchantment here, and welcome back to another Minecraft video. And today I'm going to be showing off some tiny homes within Minecraft, one of which was made by me and a whole bunch that were made by Reddit users as well. And the reason why I'm doing this is because on Reddit there was recently sort of a fad of tiny homes being posted, and the whole idea of the tiny homes movement is to cram as much functionality into a tiny space as possible. So in my example with my house, everything is comprised in a 3x3x3 area, so 3 blocks wide, 3 blocks deep, and 3 blocks tall. And some of these other houses, well, for the most part, they all reside within really small areas as well. So let's go ahead and let's launch right into this here. So the one that I made, again, resides within a 3x3x3 area, and I'm really quite proud of how much functionality there is in this tiny space. So let's go ahead and let's, look into the inside first here. So as we look on the inside here, you can immediately see there's an available chest, there is an available crafting bench, a furnace, a brewing stand, an anvil, an ender chest, which does actually work even though there's a solid block on top of it. And then we have 2 double chests as well, which are both accessible. So if I go ahead and I click on that one, you can see the sword's not in there because I'm not opening the bottom one. So yeah, pretty awesome. Looking at it from the outside here, you can see that all of the items that I just mentioned are exposed, and the bed itself does actually work, even though there is a chest and a water block directly on top of it. It's honestly kind of crazy. And if we go ahead and we look at it from the top here, you can see there are 5 available farming spots, and you could make that more if you really wanted to by rearranging the setup with the double chests. So you could make it so you'd have 6 farming spots, but then you would only have a single chest. So I figured for the sake of functionality, having 2 double chests was more worth it. But anyways, there's plenty of room up here to get some farming done. So if you wanted to have 5 potato plants or 5 carrot plants or whatever, you could go ahead and you could do that. And that's actually, for the most part, like totally usable in survival Minecraft. You could get away with only having 5 or 4 potato plants, but some of these houses only have like 1 plant cycle or 1 plant spot, and I don't really think that's enough. So anyways, yeah, that is my house made within a 3x3x3 area. And if we go ahead and we set it to nighttime here, again, I do want to actually show off that the bed itself does work. It takes a little bit to click on it, but it does in fact work. So let's go ahead and let's wait for the respawn here. You can see it is now well, it's not. Oh, the daytime nighttime cycle is not actually moving. So let's go ahead and let's type in /kill here. And you can see I will respawn right next to the bed. So it does work. It's really fascinating. All right, moving on here. This one is made by the Reddit user Flamo Guy, and this one is sort of more of a simple aesthetic. I actually do believe that Flamo Guy was the first person to sort of like make a thread about the concept of tiny homes, at least recently, and that's what sort of started the trend. But anyways, if we go ahead and we go inside here, you can see that there are 4 double chests and a single chest right here. We got a crafting bench, couple of furnaces, and a bed. Nothing too extraordinary, but overall, it's a good sort of base for the concept of tiny homes. So it's definitely really cool. All right, moving on here, we have a house made by Buildingo. And before we even go inside the house and see the craziness that is in this house, we can see that the farm is actually on the outside of the house, which is really quite interesting. So yeah, if you wanted to have 4 carrot plants or 4 potato plants, it really doesn't matter. Choose whatever you feel like. Now going into the house is where this house gets really interesting. So it has all of the things that I have in my house, such as an enchantment table, an ender chest, an anvil, a brewing stand. This one even has an armor stand. It's got a couple of furnaces. It's got 2 double chests. But where this house really stands out is the fact that the enchantment table is a full enchantment table. So it will do level 30 enchantments, which is honestly super awesome that it was able to fit within this tiny space. One thing that is actually really worth noting, just because I was sort of experimenting with the idea of putting, bookcases in my house, is that if you want, well, 2 things. One, if you place down an enchantment table, you need to have more than 1 bookcase near it in order for it to make a difference. Now, if you only have 1 bookcase near an enchantment table, it won't make a difference at all versus 0 bookcases. It's really stupid. And if you have any blocks intruding in between the enchantment table and the bookcases, even if it's semi-opaque, like it's partially transparent, like a plant block or something, then it will prevent the enchantment from being completely full. So there is that to keep in mind. So this house is honestly quite the marvel, and it's super awesome. So yeah, Buildingo, good job on this house. Now, moving on to the next house here. This one is made by Reddit user CJ Barr. And this one, I think I actually may have built it wrong because the bed is kind of, squirrely and it doesn't quite work properly. But otherwise, the house is an amazing concept. This house is a 2x1x10 house, and it has 5 double chests, I think. So looking at it from the top here, you can see the crafting benches on the very top with a furnace on the very top. And as we climb down here, you can see that the furnace, I think, may be accessible from within here. But again, I have this ladder right here. You could substitute this for, what do you call it? You could substitute it for trapdoors, and then you'd be able to stand still on, any given floor. But anyways, as we go ahead and we look around here, you can see that there's an enchantment table, there's a brewing stand, and then there's a whack ton of chests, then a few more of these guys down here, and then an actual bed right here. Now, again, I'm not too sure if the bed actually respawns me in the right spot. I don't actually think a respawn here will work. But anyways, it may just be because I built it wrong, but the principle is still there of having a much taller house, which I think would be really useful in underground situations if you don't want your house to be found or something. It'd be super cool. So, all right, moving on here. This one is probably the craziest house. Like, it's more efficient than my house, and my house, I think, is like a super efficient house. So this one is made by, I think the name is Zythus or Zythus 1. And this one is insane. So looking at it from the outside, you can immediately see some of the insanity here. So you press a button to get into the house here. The crafting bench is barely visible here. We have a sticky piston. I'll get into that here in a second. We have a beacon, which is actually powered, even though there's a bunch of blocks in the way. The fact that all the blocks are semi-transparent still allows the beacon to work. And it's got all the typical items. And it has, I think, 20 individual chests worth of storage space, which is insane. So this whole house is housed within a 5x5 area, and then I think it goes up like something 6 or 7 blocks or so. So if we go ahead and we walk through this trapdoor here, you can see that there are the blocks for the beacon right here. And the idea that this guy wanted to make apparent is that you could have a mine like starting from right underneath your house and not interfere with the beacon blocks or the iron blocks underneath the beacon at all, which is super awesome. But one thing that's really, really unique about this house is that these 2 chests right here are trap chests, and because they give off a redstone signal, it will actually activate the piston. That's why it's actually here. And if I go ahead and I hit escape and then I hop up really quickly, it will put me into the water where I can then get on the roof really, really easily, which is super cool. Now, there's quite a bit of farming space up here as well, something like what, 4, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like 13 spaces for farming up here. Something like that, or 14 because of the tree as well. You could put just a regular plant here if you wanted. So yeah, a lot of space, a lot of things going on with this house, and I think it's super cool. Now, I don't know why I forgot to mention this, but I also felt like saying you can get on the roof of my house as well, just because I feel like mentioning it. If you hop on top of the furnace, you can also get on the roof, but it's not as necessary because it's not a super tall house. So, all right, anyways, those are all of the submissions as shown off by Reddit users, but now what I want to show off is 2 more just sort of generic examples of tiny homes that you might wind up doing if you are starting up a brand new survival world or something. So if you wind up coming across a large red mushroom, then you can make a house like this. Even if it's only 1 block tall, you can still do this. If we go ahead and we climb into the house here, you can actually see that there is a double chest right here, a single chest. It's got room for a couple of furnaces and room for everything else that was mentioned as well. So an enchantment table, an anvil, a brewing stand, an ender chest, and a bed, which does actually work. I'm not sure if it would work with the TNT on top of it. Let's get rid of this TNT right here. So what's cool is with the TNT actually here. Oh, well, I set the TNT to not explode. So yeah, what's cool about the TNT being here though is if you wanted to have, say, like an escape plan for your house and make sure that the house itself, like, people can't use it once you leave or whatever, the TNT can actually be on top of the chest. Even though it's a solid block, the chest will still open. Kind of blows my mind a little bit. Like if I use just regular oak wood planks, this chest will not open, but to TNT, it will open. It's honestly kind of crazy that that works. I don't know why, but it's cool. So yeah, that's one concept for a simple tiny home. And the other simple concept that I want to show you is basically just the tree idea. This is your average newbie sort of quick house if you need to get away from monsters or whatever. Just climb into a tree, gut it out, leave the wood behind here. And I actually placed an extra block of wood so that these leaves wouldn't deteriorate. And then I could place my bed on top of that because you can't place beds on top of semi-transparent blocks. But yeah, and then there's a furnace and a chest here, and you could place more in here if you wanted to and be protected from mobs for the most part. I'd recommend doing this sort of like on top of a hill if you're going to do it. So yeah, anyways, guys, that is sort of the tiny homes movement in Minecraft. If you guys have anything you would like to show off, feel free to let me know in the comments or tweet me on Twitter at twitter.com/antvenom and send me pictures of your ideas and whatnot. So anyways, guys, I hope you all have enjoyed this random little video. My name is Antvenom, and I bid you all farewell, guys. Thanks so much for watching.